All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today was going to be a Q&A, and we got a few questions, but honestly, we're going to make it a hot topics because we didn't have enough questions to really make a full show out of the questions. So, if you have any questions for us, can be about anything, can be about farming, can be about business, can be about economics, politics, anything. Submit your questions, email us at barntalkshow@gmail.com so we can make a kick-ass Q&A. But for today, we're going to have to talk about all the things going on in the world. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. Share the show with the people that you know. The more that you guys do that, the more that this show grows, the more guests we can get on, the more episodes we can make. Another thing you can do to help out Barn Talk is leave a review on Spotify or Apple. The more that you guys do that, the more it gives our show credibility to recruit guests to come to Southeast Iowa and have a great conversation with us in the barn. So we appreciate every single one of you guys that do that, and we love hearing from you. We love hearing what you guys think of the show. We love hearing feedback. We appreciate it so much. So please, please, please keep leaving reviews. Last thing you can do to help support our family farm and help support Barn Talk is Farmer Grade. FarmerGrade.com. You can always use code BARNTALK to save 10% off your next order. It's our direct-to-consumer meat business we started. And we got a lot of great things coming to Farmer Grade here in 2025. We finally got some pork sticks, and they're on the website right now. I don't have a pack with me. I told myself I need to bring a pack up here.
You had one job.
I had one job.
Bring me snack sticks.
I know.
I've only had one. I've had one snack stick, and I got it at like 5 o'clock in the morning after we got done loading overstocks. Couldn't have a whole pack.
Well, because we got to sell them to the great people that want to buy them. So we can't just eat them for ourselves. But they are really, really good. I was a little hesitant to get into the pork stick game because I just didn't know if people would really like them. But I tried them. We sampled some, and I was like, man, these are so freaking good. So we got some pork sticks done that the pork is from our farm. So if you're interested in getting some pork sticks, we're going to have them on the website. Also, Sunny Farms beef is going to be, it's getting cut up right now. It's going to be in the freezer, and I think we're going to have some extra left over for anybody that wasn't able to buy some Sunny Farm beef. And then Grant Hilbert and Spencer Hilbert, if you guys know who they are, they're a new farm partner with Farmer Grade, and they're going to be bringing some cattle in September of this year, and they're going to have all their beef available. So exciting stuff happening, and a lot of new products are coming to Farmer Grade because spring is coming and summer's coming, and it's going to be time to whip out the grill and start making some damn good food. So
there's so many choices. I think this summer I'm just going to have to go straight carnivore. There's no
not
way,
a bad idea.
There's no way that I can sample all the choices that are available. I'm just going to have to cut everything else out.
Yeah, we got some mango habanero brats, which are really good. We got some pineapple brats. Those are new. We're working on a pork burger that I think will be really good. We don't have that quite yet, but we're experimenting. We're trying to get some really good products on the site for grilling season. So be looking out for that. But yeah, we just got some ice. It was freezing rain last night, and every freaking surface outside's covered in ice, layer of ice. So I'm surprised they didn't fall on my butt before coming in here. I about did. But
it's warming up. It's going to be gone here before long, but everybody shut down yesterday afternoon. Feed mill shut down. Nobody was trying to haul hogs. I got up this morning about 5, and it is rare that you get an ice storm where the ice is as smooth as it was today. Like, I'm not kidding. It's what is it, quarter mile between my house and Site 1. When I pulled out of the driveway, I literally just had to kind of idle my truck to like get enough traction to get up any speed to get up there. And then I took Jordan home, a kid that helps me. He comes every morning. And his dad brought him this morning, and he just lives a little ways from us. But taking him back, I mean, people were just barely crawling. So it was definitely dangerous out there, but it's warming up. It's supposed to be up in the 40s today, so that we should get rid of that.
Yeah, I got out of my truck and I about ate shit because I put my first foot down and I was like, I almost fell back. But I was like, oh man,
I would have out of your truck probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, yeah. How's the markets looking? Let's speed up the ice melting with this hot ass market update here.
Well, it does. I mean, it is. It really kind of is. So, corn $4.93 locally. The best price I could find was $4.64 at one of the feeders and $4.83 in Cedar Rapids. But I mean, it's up and down. It's kind of a whipsaw because it's all about the politics. But it's got some pretty good strength in it, and new crop has got some strength in it too. Beans $10.57. Basis has really gone to pot at the river because Meeker's is just about full. I sent 2 loads. I had 2 loads sold to go to the river, and they called me yesterday and said that they thought by Friday they were going to be full up. So their basis has widened. So 10.05 in Burlington, and I think Meeker's is the only one taking beans down there. Everybody else is full up. 10.33 in Quincy. Bean meal $3.08 a ton. March wheat $5.74. Hogs $86. That's a step in the right direction, I think, and that's not. I don't think that's February. I think that's actually March. Maybe it is February. I can't remember if I updated my sheet or not. But $86 is the nearby futures, and weaner pigs and feeder pigs stay strong. Feeder pigs, I want to say, were about $110. So. You get out a little further and you're over $90 in the hog market. It's been a long time since we've had that, and we definitely need it because the hole is pretty deep. Cattle, 203, record high. We're at record levels for that, just kind of bouncing off of that. Feeder cattle, 271. Crude oil, 71.47. Bitcoin, what was it, 105, 106 it got to, and then everybody thought it was going to free fall. It went to 93, and then it was back to 100, and then it backed off a little bit. And it was down 96 yesterday, and it was 99 this morning when I looked. So I think it's just kind of finding its footing where it is and probably getting ready for the next step up because there's a lot of talk. Trump announced that he's going to start the United States Sovereign Wealth Fund to invest in projects on behalf of the United States. And David Sachs from All In Podcast, he's the new crypto czar, and he didn't come out and say that we were going to start a Bitcoin strategic reserve, but he didn't rule it out. And a lot of clarification is coming as far as cryptocurrency and stable coins and the whole world of crypto, I think. From a regulatory standpoint, a lot of stuff's going to get figured out, and that's really going to help the market, and Bitcoin obviously is a beneficiary of that. I threw Budweiser in there. Haven't had Bud on there in a long time, but their stock is finally coming up out of the crapper. I think if any of you have perused social media, and I'm sure this commercial will be on the Super Bowl, I think they have somebody else running their media there at Budweiser. I think that gal that got her ass in a ringer, I think she's out. Either she's out or she's parking cars or something. I don't know. But there is a new video with Post Malone and
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, Shane Gillis. And it's all about Grill Out on the cul-de-sac, and I gotta say, it's pretty damn good.
Yep, they've pivoted to a demographic, their roots, a demographic that has always drank their beer, and that's serving them pretty well. So getting Shane Gillis and Post Malone and Peyton Manning to represent your brand, was a good idea.
Yep, it's pretty good. And the stock is reflecting that because it's up a little bit, $49. Tesla, $378. Not much news going there, and with all the bad publicity on Elon, it's probably dragging it down a little bit. Gold, $2,880. like I think I said in the last one, if I had gold, I'd be pretty happy, but I don't think I'd be buying any more at this level. It's right up there. Silver's close to an all-time high. I think maybe not the all-time high, but I want to say $31, $32 is about the top for silver, so it's right in there. And I'm not even going to mention Beyond Meat. I left it on there. It's terrible. So that is the market update. And, these grain markets are kind of looking up now, but it's all because the tariff word isn't being used. And
on commodities.
Yeah. And if we go back, if we go back down the road that we are going to get tariffs, the corn and bean market, they're going to tank again. Maybe we get it all figured out. If we do, I think there could be some strength there.
Yeah, because didn't Trump put a tariff on Canada and put a tariff on Mexico, but then their leaders were like, oh, wait. Let's give it a month to negotiate before.
Yeah, well, they both backed down in that Mexico pledged to put 10,000 troops on the border and take back anybody that we sent back down there. Canada basically did the same thing, all about, trying to keep. So last year, 200,000 people crossed the border out of Canada. I mean, this is estimated illegally compared to the 21 million. Is that right? 2.1 million. Sorry, that would have been a really crazy number. I think it's 2.1 million off the southern border. So, I mean, it's kind of not the same, but still, it's more about the amount of fentanyl and illegal drugs. And a lot of the people that came from the Canadian border were people that
weren't Canadians.
Most of them were from India, actually. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know whether that's a long-term fix or not, but the tariffs, they've scuttled them for at least 30 days. Cattle are at record highs. Hogs are heading in the right direction, it seems like. But like I said, that hole is pretty deep. So as farmers, it's like, what do you do? How do you position yourself? I mean, I'm working on this right now. I'm really trying to get my financials in order and getting a long-term plan of where we've got to be to make sure that no matter what happens, we can cope with it. And I think that, just about everybody is sitting around the kitchen table trying to figure out where we're headed. And with that, I thought, well, this would be a great question for our friends at Conterra. And Luke is going to give us a message. And before I turn it over to Luke, I just have to say that if you are at an event or a commodity deal and Conterra is there, you need to walk up and ask if Luke's there, because they don't call him the force of nature for nothing. He is, and you will soon know. He's a guy that you want to get to know. So I just figured let's get Luke's take on what's going on out there.
Hi all, Luke Schultz here with Conterra Ag Capital. We're an ag finance company based out of Des Moines, Iowa. I work remotely out of Kansas and cover the Great Plains for the company. Some topics that have come up that we've been asked a lot is, what are you seeing going on in the ag lending market right now? Well, one of the main things that we're seeing is some pullback in the industry with your traditional commercial ag lending banks and maybe even some of the farm credits. We've seen corn and bean dip down for an extended period of time. We've seen cattle go to all new time highs. So it's taken more money to buy back cattle on the stocker and feeder operations, and there's just genuinely less profit in the row crop that there has been for the last couple of years. So we're seeing pullback. So the real question is, what am I to do? Well, we're a firm believer that if your balance sheet is set up in a pretty good shape, it's time to look at maybe refinancing some of that operating debt and putting it against real estate while rates are still very favorable, and kind of cleaning some things up and realigning your balance sheet. We just think now is a great time to look at that while there is some pressure from some of the traditional operating lenders. So like I said, now's the time to look at it. There's probably not going to be a better time or more time of the essence to do it. So That's what we're seeing. That's what we're thinking. Just a few tidbits from Conterra.
That was a force of nature right there.
How do you like his setup?
I like his setup a lot. Is that his office?
Yeah, that's his home office.
Well, yeah, he made it his own, that's for sure. He's got a few mounts on there that look pretty good. So
yeah, I met him down at FarmCon when I was down there, and he is my go-to to set up our hog hunting deal. He
would probably be a good resource for that.
So I'm keeping him. I'm like, Luke, you got to come through for me.
Has he got the helicopter that we can get into to shoot him from the helicopter?
If there was a guy within that organization that could pull it off, my money would be on Luke, definitely.
He's probably done it a few times.
Okay, so when I sat down today and was like, okay, we're going to do a Q&A, I probably could have gotten enough questions for a Q&A, but it's like, how do you keep up with the Trump train? I don't think anybody really anticipated the speed at which all this stuff is happening. I mean, yeah, I think that the Democrats, even people in his own party, I don't think they were ready for what's going on. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. He really appears to have taken seriously the promises that he made when he was on the campaign trail. And
just rare.
It's just very rare.
Well, yeah, I think people, when they were saying, he's been there, done that before, he's going to come back in and he's really going to drain the swamp. And, everybody says that, but you're like, yeah, I don't know. We're used to presidents making promises and it not coming true. Although he kept a lot of his promises in his first term. Not all of them, but he did a fair amount. But yeah, it is crazy at how fast he is draining the swamp and getting rid of corruption. And some people are really pissed, and the mainstream media is not a fan, and they are doing everything they can to paint him as, they're just seeing what sticks. They're throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. They're calling him Hitler. They're calling him a fascist. They're calling him, a dictator. They're doing everything they can and seeing what resonates with people. But, he's cutting the fat. He's cutting the fat, and I think, he's giving the American. It seems like he's doing what's best for the American people, and that's really refreshing to see. And I love that he's just able to. I'm glad he's back on X, because he is just literally posting updates of what he's doing on X, which is pretty cool, I think. Yeah. There was a video of him bombing ISIS, and I can't remember if I don't remember where it was, but
it was in Somalia.
Yeah, I think it was in Somalia. I don't know for sure. You'd have to check me on that. But he literally put a tweet out saying, "This is what we did. We bombed these guys, and no Americans got hurt, no civilians got hurt, but we took out this target." And then he replied to the tweet with the footage from the bomber of him actually doing it, of it actually happening, and then blowing it up. So that's just pretty insane that we have that access to see that stuff happening. But he's really being transparent with what he's doing and making a note to show us what he's doing, which I really respect, and I like that, because past administration, it's you don't know you have no idea. They're not doing nothing.
Even know what's
They're
going
not.
on.
Yeah, Biden wasn't doing any of that, and so I think Trump, on the campaign trail, realized the true value of social media. I think he probably did before, but after pretty much winning the election, because getting on Rogan and leveraging TikTok and getting on as many podcasts as he could, and then understanding now that X is a free speech platform and he knows he's not going to get kicked off of it, I think he's really leveraging the power of being transparent with people and really showing what he's doing, what he's up to, giving us updates, letting us know, hey, this is what's going on, this is what I'm doing, and that's pretty awesome to see. So I like that.
I think the ripple effects of what's going on is going to last for many administrations to come, because I think part of the reason that politicians are as upset as they are is because I think they're starting to realize that the social media side of it and the flow of information being so fast and being able to bypass all the gatekeepers. So this deal with the U.S. Aid Department, Elon is just throwing that out there. As soon as they find how money's spent, they're just putting it out there. And people don't know what to do. I mean, there's the videos of Democratic senators or congressmen going to the Department of U.S. Aid, and the doors are locked. They sent everybody home, and they're in there just going through the books, and they want in, and nobody lets them in because there's nobody in there to talk to them, because it's all just people going through the code and basically doing an audit of how the money was spent. And these politicians are just losing their minds.
Well, and I think they're losing their minds because they were lining their pockets.
Well,
I mean,
100%.
I saw something, Elon put something out, and it was one of the, I don't know what congressman it was, but he was protesting outside, and he was talking about how this isn't right and all that. And Elon just replied and was like, the reason he's out there protesting is because he's making him and his family are making money
right
from this department. They're getting paid to a corporation that their family owns or whatever, and he's pissed about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything we were talking about. We're going to see more and more of it, but media, politicians, they were getting greased. They were making money from the U.S. government to do and act a certain way. Plain and simple. They were pushing the agenda, pushing the narrative of what the establishment wanted them to push. And it's all coming out that they're lining their pockets.
So you think about, they basically have only really dug in to this one office. And I want to say the U.S. Aid Department is only like maybe 4% of the government budget, something like that. What do you, like, out of the trillions of dollars that the U.S. government spends, how much do you think is actually wasted? Like,
I think
it really
lot.
makes you wonder, like, what do you think it would be when they get to, and this, I think this will be the pivotal moment as to whether or not the Trump administration can take this all the way through. But think if he gets into the Department of Health and Human Services as far as Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, disability. Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know, but my guess is that the amount of waste and the amount of double dipping and the amount of fraudulent claims, I bet you that it is astounding how much money. And I don't know whether they'll let that stand. The thing is, all of these politicians are so afraid. I mean, they're kind of like cockroaches. And Elon's just walking around flipping on lights. He's just flipping on lights because they got their fingers, and it's not just politician, it's corporations that supply stuff to the government. So when they talk about NGO, non-government organization, there's all these contractors and people, but a lot of times those contractors or those not NGOs, guess what? The people that work there are family members of politicians, or somehow they're linked to them, to where that's how they're getting greased. That's how they're funneling money. They funnel government money to these NGOs. These NGOs pay people that sit on their board, and then these people that sit on their boards, they turn around and they make campaign donations back to these politicians. It is just a big circle. So,
it literally, we've been saying it on the show, and anybody with a fucking any logic at all, it is as simple as our politicians are corrupt. And the reason why Trump won is because we don't trust any of them.
Right.
They're bought and paid for. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And the reason Trump won is because he's not bought and paid for. It's very obvious that he is not an establishment puppet. Joe Biden is establishment puppet. That was very evident in his presidency. He didn't do a fucking thing, and he was doing everything that he was being told to do. Kamala would have been the same way. It's very evident that that is the case, and we got to get that. When you talk about drain the swamp, we have to get to a place where these politicians are doing it to serve the country, not to benefit and prosper and make a shitload of money.
Yep.
That's what we got to get back to, because that's how it used to be, and we were a thriving nation, and now it's just corruption and greed, and these politicians make it a career.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit. And as a taxpayer, like what I'm curious about is I want to see how much waste. Because it's like, everybody says, oh, we got to pay more taxes, pay more taxes. Until we see what our tax dollars are actually going towards. And then you realize, wait, only this much is actually going to benefit us, and the rest is getting paid out to this other country or this organization or this politician or whatever, right? It's like, if we actually spent the money for our benefit and America's benefit, I bet you we wouldn't have to pay as much as we pay in taxes.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we talk about it on here all the time, but like, we get taxed. It's insane that us as Americans have just taken it, and we just get taxed every single thing we do. We get taxed on, and we just sit around and take it.
Yep. Cell
And
phone, cable, your utility bill, your gas bill, your water bill, property tax, car tax, title, this.
Well, everything you earn, you get taxed on. Everything you buy, you get taxed on. Everything you own, you get taxed on.
Yeah.
So you're getting taxed like how many times on your dollars?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. And we don't even bat an eye. And then it's not even getting used to our benefit. Not saying that none of it ever does.
Well,
but it's like, God, if we all just paid a fair share and it actually got used the right way, Americans could keep more money in their pockets. They'd be happier. They'd have more disposable income. Industries would thrive. And if we actually use our tax dollars for the American people in a positive way, and it didn't go to all this bullshit, we could achieve both things.
Mm-hmm.
People would thrive, and the government actually would do good shit for us in America.
Yep.
But that doesn't happen. That doesn't fucking happen.
But it might. We might.
It might get to that point. If it does, hallelujah, because that'll be a great day. But
so we don't need to go down the list of all the stuff that they've dug up, but I thought it was pretty interesting that the BBC, if you saw this morning, this just dropped, that they had to shut down in their restructuring for a couple days, because come to find out, 8% of the BBC's budget financing came from the United States government. And Politico got like $8 million. So I don't know how anybody thinks you're getting a fair and unbiased
news
media outlet when it's being financed by the U.S. government. And that's just one example, but there is a pile. And so I think these politicians, like, they just don't know. It's literally what you said. They're just throwing crap at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Well, the media is throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks, because they're in full-fledged panic mode.
Yeah, and I would say,
and I don't think that they can run the same. They know they can't do what they did the first administration for Trump, so they have to go more extreme with the rhetoric. They have to go more extreme with doubling down on making him out to be this. I mean, all the words: Hitler, fascist, Nazi, communist, dictator. I mean, it's like everything.
Yeah.
They're throwing everything that they can. And they're like to compare this illegal immigration, getting the illegals out of the country, as what Hitler did with the Jews and putting them in camps and all this shit. And it's like, it's insane to see that narrative.
Let's start with that. So this morning I was just like trying to go through the list of the stuff that's happening, and there's a lot. But for our context and our world, agriculture, let's talk about the illegal immigration and kind of the rhetoric that's going around, because I think this is interesting. And I'll just start with back out kind of the big picture. I think it's really interesting that you see so many of these Democrats, like, they are super passionate about all of these illegal immigrants and protecting them and trying to stop this and stop ICE. And Chicago had a bill that got introduced to change illegal immigrants' names on all of their public records to help thwart ICE from being able to find them because they're changing their names. And I just sit there and watch that, and I'm like, if you're a member of that community and you're watching your local government work this hard for people who
broke the fucking
law coming here, but I've said this before, our immigration system needs to be fixed to make it much simpler for people who are honest, hardworking people that want to come to the United States to become citizens and do it legally. There is no doubt that needs to be overhauled. It should not be nearly as difficult for someone to become a citizen of the United States as what it is. However, if you come here illegally and you do bad things, you should be the first person on the list that gets out of here.
Or you have a bad record of what you did somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
And you
right.
come here. And I don't think all of them, I don't think all the illegal immigrants that did come through the border are necessarily bad people. I mean, I think there are a lot of bad ones that did, but for those people, I feel for them. But at the same time, you did break the law. You broke the law, and you kind of did what everybody was doing at that time in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I could go through this long, enduring process of becoming a U.S. citizen, or I could just do what everyone else is doing and just cross the border, because that seems to be the easiest way to do it. And nobody's stopping us. So you can't blame them for it. But at the same time, it's like, guys, they broke the law. And we don't know everything about them. And I don't want to take the fucking risk. I don't have kids yet, but what I've been seeing a lot on social media is moms, dads. When you have kids in this world, you don't want to take the risk of having one bad egg end up sexually assaulting your daughter or your son, or worse, raping and killing them or whatever, right? You just don't even want to take the risk. Not saying every single illegal immigrant that came through is that way, but why take the risk? They broke the law. We don't know enough about them. They're not American citizens, so therefore they need to go. They need to go, and they need to go through the process legally. And I agree with Dad. This whole immigration shit, every administration runs on it. Oh, we're gonna make immigration this way or that way. It just needs to be easier. And immigration's a good thing for America. We just got to make sure that we're bringing in the best immigrants that we can, that we know that they want to be an American, they want to embody what it means to be an American, and they want to add value to this country, not go out and commit crimes, heinous crimes against American citizens, because that's not what we want at all. And it's also funny, like you mentioned the local governments, but I've been seeing videos of teachers. The hypocrisy of this is just like teachers saying, if they're like making a TikTok video, if ICE tries to come in to our school, and like they're like boarding up the classroom door and shit, like showing what they're gonna. It's like, you are a teacher in a government building, and you're gonna stop a government official from coming into a government building to do their job for the government. Yeah, make that make sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I guess my point is all these guys aren't doing themselves any favor because their constituents, the people that elected them, when you make it out that it is more important for you to support people who are here illegally than it is for you to support your constituents, that's a really bad look. And then like these protests across the country where you have streets, highways locked down, people protesting, and they're all waving the Mexican flag, or they're all waving the flag from Guatemala or whatever. Okay, well, if you are so proud of that country and you want everybody to know that that's your country, then why are you here? Mm-hmm. Why are you waving that flag? If that flag is so great, why are you not there instead of here? Well, you're here because America has the opportunity. So
it's whole
hypocrisy.
This whole thing. It's the mainstream media pushing this narrative. It's George Floyd all over again. They are hyping people up to get pissed about it. Paint ICE as the enemy. Paint Donald Trump as the enemy. Paint the U.S. government for getting illegal immigrants out of the country as the enemy. And the people that buy that are getting in the streets and they're protesting, waving their flags, and it's like the same. It's like Ukraine and
Russia.
No, it's not Ukraine. It's Gaza. It's Israel and Palestine.
Palestinians.
People were protesting that in America not too long ago. Free Palestine, waving those flags. Because guess what? The media got them riled up. The media riles them up to do so, and it's here or there. But
so we kind of got off. But what we both wanted to talk about was, so in agriculture, there are a huge amount of workers in the United States that work in agriculture. So the TN visa program is where, like in our area, the vast majority of sow units and dairies,
produce farms,
they use foreign workers that come into the United States. They're documented using this TN visa program where they have to interview them in Mexico. The company, obviously, whoever it is, you've got to pay for a lawyer that does all this paperwork. You have to verify that you have housing for them, that you have transportation for them. You're basically responsible for them. But their visa, it has the name of whoever they're here to work for, and that visa is only good for that. So if they leave, if they take off, they can't go work anywhere else. And after, whether it's a year or 2 years or 3 years, they have to go back and reapply again. That is documented foreign labor. So those are not citizens. They are not citizens, but they are documented. We know who they are and we know they're here. But there is a fair amount of labor, whether it be, hotels, restaurants, produce farms, dairy farms, sow units,
packing plants,
packing plants, that either they have falsified information or they're flat out here illegally, and whoever is supposed to be vetting those people is not doing it. But there's this argument that, if we crack down on illegal immigration, our food prices are going to go through the roof. Nobody's going to clean your house. Nobody's going to...
Which is just...
Yeah, so what you said.
Well, that's the hill that they're standing on now. And it's like, so you want to say illegal immigration it's good and we need to protect them because food prices are going to skyrocket and we're going to just exploit these people, pay them cheap, and have a modern form of slavery. Now, not everybody pays them cheap. Like we had Shay Myers on there, and he does the TN visa program, but he's not paying that labor cheap.
Right.
But I remember when the Perry plant closed or the Tyson plant closed in Perry, Iowa, and that story broke, and people realized that Tyson had a whole database dedicated to finding illegal immigrants and getting them to work for Tyson. They had flyers down at the border to recruit illegal immigrants to come work at the Tyson packing plant.
Yep.
So there is some of these corporations that say, "Oh yeah, we're doing it the right way," but they're not at the same time, and they are exploiting those people. I mean, that you can't tell me they know damn well they're going to be able to pay that illegal immigrant that's not on the TN visa program way less than somebody that is on that program doing it the right way, or an American worker. Same thing. It's all about margins and your labor force and all that. But I just think it's funny that the Democrats are now just, it's like kind of ironic. You're saying that illegal immigration is good. We need to keep it because if we didn't, nobody's going to do the work and food
that
prices.
Nobody else wants to do.
Right. And so you're saying it's like that clip on The View of Ozzy Osbourne's daughter who was talking about illegal immigration or something, and he said, "Well, who's going to clean your toilet, Donald Trump?"
Yeah.
And everybody on the panel was like, "Oh, fuck, don't say that."
Yeah, exactly.
Don't say that. Well, this is the same thing.
It's what they're saying. It is what they're saying.
Isn't that kind of
So,
I mean, that's kind of that's racist. That's when you get to that, that's like, "Oh, so you're exploiting these people and you're paying them extremely cheap."
But it's okay in this situation.
It's okay in this situation, but we love these people. You can't have it both ways. You can't say we're empathetic. We want to keep these people here. They're not all bad. But then the reality
is we can exploit them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, dude, that's so fucked up.
And so somebody sent us this, or some guy sent this, or I didn't even send it. He tweeted this on X in reply to Barn Talk Show. And basically saying that we were whining about our farm welfare or whatever, and that we'll be crying our eyes when, I think he was in reference to like the packing plants when they can't get anybody to work there. And my reply to him was that somehow I bet that the Tysons and the Smithfields of the world will figure it out. And here's what'll happen. Their cost of production is going to go up. That's what's going to happen. So as an American, you're going to have to decide. So if you want to have a safe country and you want to know who everybody is that gets here, and you want to make sure that nobody's coming here illegally, then the people that do come here legally, one, you need to fix immigration so that it's not nearly as difficult or as expensive for people to do it. And two, you need to pay all the people that come here a living wage so that they're not being exploited. And if that's going to happen, corporations are going to have thinner margins. So then you are either going to have to decide that you are going to pay more for that product, or you're not going to buy that product, and then those corporations are going to figure out they're going to make less money. And they're either going to stop making that product, or they're going to be satisfied with smaller margin.
Or they're going to go out of business.
And so it's not a great answer. And I'm not saying that
there's trade-offs.
Yeah.
And
I think in this country that your bag of lettuce at the grocery store probably going to cost you more money, because if people aren't going to do it right, and they're not going to use the programs that are there, and they're going to try to bypass that by hiring illegals, they're not going to have any illegals, because we're not going to let them come across the border. They're going to have to be documented. And that means that what they're going to have to pay to get somebody to do it, they're going to have to pay them a wage that the people that are here are willing to do it, or they're going to have to pay the cost of getting a TN visa worker and provide them housing, provide them the things they need, and a living wage for you to have your avocados, for you to have your bag of lettuce, for you to have your pork chop at the supermarket. Because we've talked about this. when people look at your direct-to-consumer meat, they're like, oh, that's too expensive. Well, the reason it's too expensive is because we don't have the throughput that Tyson has or IBP has or whoever. We don't have that volume. And
we're not selling all the offal to Japan and China and all these.
But we also, they know what every single thing costs them down to the gnat's ass. And labor is a big part of that. So if their labor costs go up, guess what? The margin is thinner. The price is probably going to go up. And I think that's just a conversation we got to have in this country. What's it worth to you?
What's it worth to have a safe nation and have a nation where every immigrant that comes is documented? What's that worth to you versus having cheap prices?
Yeah.
Cheap goods.
Yep.
Because it's not just in ag. I mean, people bring that example up, but I'm sure it's happening in other industries as well. I mean, what is it worth to you? That's what you got to determine for yourself. And honestly, I believe isn't it better for American agriculture for us to, I don't know, to kind of not have to rely strictly. I don't know. I guess there's going to have to be a solution there, but knowing our people that are working for us, paying them a good wage, I think is important. And I think more companies need to do that. But I guess
I think they're not going to have any choice.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a hard one. That's a really hard one. But food independence is really important. And I think it'll be good for the long-term benefit of America if we know our country's safe and we know our food is safe as well. And I'm not saying it's not safe now, but it's just like, having food independence is important. So I don't know.
Along that line, I mean, I think Tom Holman is a stud. He's the head of ICE.
50% of people, well, not this podcast, but some people would absolutely say you're insane to think he's a stud. But some people agree with you.
He is the kind of person that I would want running any government agency that has a job to do because
he gives no fucks.
He is laser focused on doing the job that he was hired for, and he will not get caught up in political banter. When people ask him loaded questions, he just gives them the straight answer. And he was recently asked about mayors and officials of sanctuary cities, and he just said point blank that if it is his job to remove illegals from these cities and dangerous people from these cities, and a government official or a public official that interferes with a government act is violating the law, and if he has to arrest them too, he will. And I just thought, you just don't get...
That's real, though.
I mean, it's real.
That's raw, but that's real.
The guy he's not interested in...
climbing the ladder and making this he's in here to do the job.
He is there to do what they hired him to do, and he doesn't want to run a talk show or be a guest on Hollywood Squares or anything like that. He just wants to do his job. I don't know. I think it's pretty refreshing. And Trump, he's hired a lot of them. I mean, Pam Bondi, I don't know. Is she going to drop the Epstein list? I mean, that's what she got sworn in yesterday, and that's what she's claiming she's going to do.
She's the Attorney General, isn't she?
Attorney General.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I'd love to see the Epstein list come out. I mean, it's insane that, they had all these documentaries, everybody talked about it, but nothing came of it. And we all know why nothing came of it. I mean, because the people that are involved are powerful people that know they fucked up, and they're going to do anything they can to keep it hush-hush. So seeing that would be really refreshing. Seeing that come out would be amazing. It's just like the Diddy thing. Diddy's the one in trouble, but nobody else. You can't tell me Diddy's the only one that was doing some weird shit at those parties.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But who knows if anything's going to come out of that of who else was involved, because there's your scapegoat. There's the person that's the target. let's keep everything else hush hush and nobody else will get in trouble. Because powerful people went to those parties.
Yep, for sure.
So it's one of those things that I'd love to see it. I think the American people would love to see it and see. I mean, I don't know. I don't care what you say. These people in Hollywood, freaking, not to bash Beyonce, but Jesus, Beyonce won Country Album of the Year. She went at a country album this year, and it's not even freaking country. And she won Country Album of the Year at the Grammy. Is it at the Grammys?
I think.
The shit's a joke. I mean, the shit is a joke. It is all about their narrative of what they want to push. The people that win awards is all
or the
about
people that they want to win awards.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that listens to country music, it's fucking laughable to think that Beyonce won Country Album of the Year. And that's just one example. And then Kanye West at the Grammy floor on the red carpet. He takes his wife to the Grammys, puts her in freaking saran wrap. She unreveals her coat and she's butt ass naked under this. It's not saran wrap, but it damn near looks like. It looks like mesh. It looks like a fishnet. It looks like a fishnet on her.
It leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, her literal nipples are hanging out. Her tits are out. Her butt's out. And you can see everything. You leave nothing to the imagination. And it's like, these people are fucked up. These people are so fucking crazy. Like, what are you doing? And then what they wear, like they had a
Will Smith's son.
Well, yeah, Jaden Smith had a house on his head. He had a house on his head. Oh. And it's like we look at these people and we idolize them.
I think
it's like, what are we doing? These people are fucked up, man. They're fucked up. And so the Epstein list, the Diddy parties, I don't know what goes on in these people's minds, but shit is just that the more Hollywood goes down this rabbit hole and these shows happen, and the more of this shit that comes out, the less I think people are they're just not interested.
Well,
you're just like, you guys are weird.
The era of the celebrity that has passed.
And I think them trying to, because they still try to do this. Celebrities still try to act like they can relate to us, and like they tell us how we should vote, and they talk about topics that we think we're going to listen to them on.
Yeah, they still think that they are intelligent to speak about anything, even though...
Well, they think that they have the right to relate to us on stuff and try to tell us what we should and shouldn't do, when their lives are nothing like our lives. They're not even close to what we go through every day as regular average Americans. And it's just like, I think people are getting more and more fed up with Hollywood, with this kind of stuff, the Epstein list, the Diddy parties, these award shows with the weird shit. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says. If you watch the references to the devil and Illuminati and dressing up and having fucking horns on your head and performing with not a devil costume, but pretty much a devil costume where it's all red and you got horns on and shit. I don't know. It's like, what are you doing? You guys are, the more you guys do that kind of shit, the more it's just like, I don't even want to, I haven't watched an award show in.
No, I haven't either.
I mean, I never really did, but I remember watching them with Mom when we were really little, and it was never like that.
Yeah.
But now it's a fucking circus.
Well, I just think it's interesting that when you think about it, when someone who is paid to not have an original thought, in other words, an actor or an actress, their entire job is to regurgitate someone else's thoughts. In other words, every line that they read in the movie that they do is written for them. So they're paid to be an empty vessel that someone pours the character into them, and a really good actor becomes that character so believable that you can't think of them how they are outside of that. So they are an empty vessel. And then because of their popularity, they believe that somehow they're an expert in anything. And they comment on all of these political issues and social issues. You literally get paid to not know a damn thing, but yet you want people to believe that you're a very intelligent I'm not going to get you wrong. I'm sure there's many actors that are actually very intelligent. However, it's just the hypocrisy of it that anybody, like, I would never look to somebody like that for answers to life's questions.
Yeah, well, it's all about image. Well, you're talking about athletes, art, singers, artists, actors, actresses. It's image is everything. They all have publicists. They all have people in their corner. You want to talk about vanilla? They all have to stay vanilla, because if they rock the boat too much, everything that they've ever built, yeah, they come unmarketable, and everything that they've built and their image goes to shit, and that's their greatest fear. Mm-hmm. Like, I know people love The Rock,
yeah,
but Rock is exactly what you said. The Rock is vanilla. He's an empty vessel. He is not going to rock the boat too much. And I can't respect or relate to The Rock and like listen to what he has to say because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because I just know you are a vessel. And some people just love celebrity culture, but I think the more and more of this shit goes out and the more that they're just stay vanilla, it's like, I don't trust you worth a shit, dude. So anyway, we kind of went on a tirade there too, but yeah, all that to say, I hope Pam Bondi does release the Epstein list. That'd be fucking great. Get some clarity of what's going on with these crazy ass people. So,
do you think in 10 years you'll go on vacation in Gaza? Will it be the paradise of the Middle East?
I don't know. Trumpy's doing a lot of trolling, it seems. I don't know. I think he gets a kick out of trolling with saying that Canada is going to be a state of the United States, or Greenland or Gaza, or Panama Canal. I mean, I just think I don't really know what he's doing there, but I think he's just stirring the pot a little bit. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but whatever.
I'll give you my opinion of it just because I think it's really interesting. I think that the whole reason behind the Gaza comments is because we have been on this train of trying to do a two-party country within Israel, like Israel and Palestine, to coexist for 40 years, I don't know, something like that, and it won't work. And we go through these cycles, and here's the dirty secret about the Palestinians. Nobody wants them. Like, nobody likes them. So the Egyptians don't want them because when they let a bunch of them in, they tried to overthrow the government. Jordan doesn't want them in because they tried to do the exact same thing. Lebanon isn't even hardly a country anymore because it was a thriving country in the Middle East, and then the Palestinians took it over and utterly destroyed it. Syria isn't even a country anymore, so they don't have anybody that can say whether they are pro or against. They all say they're pro-Palestinian, but not a single one of them want anything to do with them because they're thugs. And they've been thugs for a long time. But we've been working on we've been going around the same mountain for 25, 30 years. And I think what Trump did is Trump came in and said, all right, this ain't going to work. We're going to load all the Palestinians up, and we're going to send them to each and every one of you guys that all say you're pro-Palestine. We're going to give you some of these people. You're going to have to take them in, or if you can all agree and give up a chunk of territory and make the Palestinian state, you can do that. But we're going to get them out of Gaza, and we're going to rebuild it, and we're not going to have this two-country thing within one country. And the whole world goes crazy. And it's like, it's going on right now. You hear all of it. And so then quietly Trump goes, all right. So that won't work, huh? So what are you going to do? What is your idea? And they're all sitting around going, They don't know. I think the whole purpose of it was that what we've been doing isn't working. So he proposed something completely different. And everybody said, fuck no, can't do that. And so he said, all right, well, what's your idea? And now he's waiting. I think that's all that was. And he knew that it would make blood shoot out of a few people's eyes. So he was like, let's do it. So anyway, oh my gosh, it is so hard to keep up. It's just crazy because so much stuff is happening so fast. I don't know if we missed. Yesterday he signed the women only in women's sports deal. So all this shit that's been going on for the last 6 years probably. This whole deal with trans men in sports, and it kind of started with Riley Gaines when she got beat by, I don't know what that
I can't
guy's
remember.
name was.
Well,
yeah, Leah Thomas.
Yeah.
So that's all been going around, and yesterday Trump signed a ban that basically says if you're not a biological woman, you can't participate in women's sports. And I'm sure a whole bunch of people are going crazy, but every one of those, if you saw it, there was just a huge bunch of young women and girls that were there, and I'm pretty sure every one of them that was invited was somebody that had been affected by that, and it was a hell of a photo op.
Yeah, I like that one. That one, I can stand on that one.
Yep.
I anybody with a fucking brain can get behind that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, that is like La La Land to me. When that was going on and that was happening, and people were defending that, that's where you're like, you people are fucking nuts.
You're on the wrong side of history.
You are on the wrong side of history and a multitude of things. Because, I mean, how can you think that is a good idea and that is fair to the women that are competing in sports? I mean, that is absolutely ludicrous and nuts that you could think that that's fair, that you can think that that's right. Any girl affected to that, I mean, I'd be pissed. Their parents would be pissed. And then outside of that, the locker room. I mean, just not even on the track, not even in the pool, not even, whatever the sport actually is, but, the locker room as well. Having these stories about these trans women, I don't know what you even say. Trans men transition to a woman that still have their cock hanging out, and they're changing in the room with all these other girls, and we're just supposed to not say anything about that. They're supposed to be cool with that. It's like, dude, you've lost your mind. You've literally lost your mind. So kudos to him on getting that passed, because that needs to be happening. That needs to happen.
Yeah, so he did that yesterday. I think three big confirmations left to go is Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel and RFK. And did you see RFK sneaking us in there?
I did.
I thought that was hilarious, and people were going. It didn't last very long, but people were going crazy about it. Like, it's still amazing to me the number of people that don't understand that nicotine is not a cigarette. And what a poor example. And there's a lot of benefits to nicotine.
Yeah, look up Andrew Huberman.
And I think more and more of them are coming out, but I thought that was just funny when he did that. So
I don't know. I'm on my best when I got a cup of coffee, and I either put a Zyn in or I chew some nicotine gum. And now that nicotine gum, I don't know what it's made from, and the Zyns, I don't know what ingredients are made for it either. Probably not the best, but better than smoking a cigarette. Better than taking in tobacco.
Yeah,
it's all about how you take in nicotine. It's not the nicotine that's the bad. It's actually. It's a performance enhancer. Nicotine's a nootropic. Helps you perform and focus better. Yeah,
I think more and more information is coming out about it, and it's actually a lot more beneficial than people.
We've been doing it. I mean, Americans been doing it. People have been doing it for
around the world for
a long time. I mean, granted, they were doing it through tobacco, and that probably wasn't the best way to take it in, but I think humans have understand nicotine is a benefit.
Yeah.
So, but it's like anything, you can abuse it and you get addicted to it and not be able to function without it. And you don't want that, but it's good in spurts, that's for sure.
I think I'm sure we've missed some stuff, and we'll try not to make this a once a month thing about because.
Well, we might.
Well, there's so much going on. It's like I feel like you about have to talk about it. It's crazy because it's what. So when I go, when I get up in the morning and I sit down with my wife and I roll through the news, 90% of
check
it,
X.
Or check X. 90% of it is what's going on in the Trump administration. And when I stop the coffee shop or stop at the feed store or whatever, that is a topic of conversation because there is just a lot going on. I thought that was really interesting. I guess one thing we'll put this isn't so much a question as a comment, but I thought it's thought provoking anyway. So in one of our last episodes, we talk about how your generation and generations younger than you or people younger than you, they're not buying houses. They're renting a lot longer. They're waiting to start a family, and instead they're investing in the stock market. And Brett is a listener of ours, and I knew him before he comes from the banking world, and he is a subscriber to us and good guy. But he commented that he said the reason young people are not buying homes is because of high interest, high insurance, and high maintenance costs. Stocks are much more accessible investment. And I'm like, that's pretty good. I mean, it is true. And we see it, housing insurance is going up, and it's probably going up more because the losses in California, the losses in Florida, the losses in nationwide. So you buy this house, it costs a lot to insure it. Your utility rates are going up. Interest rates are higher, the day of the 2.5% mortgage is gone. And it really makes you, I just got to thinking about that, and I'm like, the housing market is still really hot, and there is this, I see a lot of this talk that we're short like this many million units, and I mean a lot of those are probably for rental, but are we headed to a time that like the real estate market is going to change fundamentally?
Well, I hope that we don't just let BlackRock buy everything and anything, and then it just becomes a renting nation. That's people have said, people in real estate have speculated that's going to be the future. Is if we don't buy homes, BlackRock will, or State Street will, and they're going to own a shitload of real estate, and we're going to be a renting nation, which I don't like the thought of that at all.
Right.
But I think he's right. I also think something that is provoking, or just young people aren't wanting to buy either, is because we're also not, our generation is a lot less, we are not scared of commitment, but we are very leery about making large decisions with just like, oh, this is what, like, I don't know. I think we're kind of realizing just going with the status quo isn't necessarily the best thing to do. Like, I don't know. I feel like young people aren't getting as married as much as fast because they're really trying to figure themselves out and understand themselves a little better before they commit to marrying. And I feel like it probably is the same way with committing to buying a house. I think young people are like, well, I don't really want to buy a house unless I can build my own, or I can buy my forever home with the person that I know that I'm going to be married to. And that's taking a lot longer to find the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with a lot of young people. They're waiting, in their late 20s, they're in their 30s. And so to buy a home, committing to that, I think we're just less saying, fuck it, let's just buy a house.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we're supposed to do, let's just buy a fucking house. I think young people are like, I don't know. I'm not quite ready for that yet. I'm not quite ready to get married yet, and I'm not going to buy a house unless I'm married, so why not just keep renting?
Yeah.
So that's I think it's that mindset too, but I do think it also has to do with, I mean, it ain't cheap right now.
Right.
It's not cheap either. And that also doesn't help our cause at all. But yeah, and I think people are investing in stocks more than ever before, because another thing is the information to learn the stock market and how to do it has never been easier. Never been easier to find. I mean, that's just the truth. The stock market really is not that hard to understand once you just do a little bit of digging and research on it. I mean, I don't think anybody should be trading stocks if you're an amateur by any means. I don't think you should do that. But if you learn about index funds and the S&P 500 and other index funds and ETFs that perform exceptionally well, and you don't have to do a damn thing besides just put money into it and let it grow, and it outperforms mutual funds. I mean, the data's out there to prove that that's the way that it is. And so when you figure that out, you're like, well, this is not that hard, actually. So people are figuring that out, I think.
The moral of the story is, as you like to tell people, there has never been a time of greater opportunity than today.
Yep, I would definitely say, but I feel like there's more. What holds people back, I think, is there's so much information that it's easy to get distracted or focus on the negativity. But when you really step back and look around, the opportunities and the opportunity to learn anything has never been greater. And if you can decide that you're going to learn to be financially literate and learn how to start a business or learn how to be a really great employee that can move up the ranks inside your corporation, and then what you do with that money, whether you invest it, put it into real estate, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of ways to be successful no matter where you're at, and there's a lot of ways to learn how to do it in the situation that you're in. So you just got to go get it, and you just can't be blinded by all the other bullshit noise around you, you know? Because, yeah, the media will tell you it's fucking terrible, and it's never been this is the worst time in history, and, you know, this happened, this negative thing happened, this negative thing happens, and bitch and moan and bitch and moan and bitch and complain. But really, life's good, man. Opportunities are out there. You just have to go find them and seek out the information, and you'll be off like a herd of turtles.
The worst thing you can do is to do nothing.
Yeah, you'll stay stagnant.
In the words of the great poet Ferris Bueller, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss something.
Yep.
Words to live by.
Yeah, for sure. It's right, though. It's right. It's totally is. But that's also, I don't know. I think Dana White talks about this a lot, and I think Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot. This iPhone in our pocket's really powerful, and what you choose to see on there, and if you can be disciplined and be an active listener and learner of things, and not get distracted by TikTok and Pornhub and Instagram models and you name it, and you can stay focused and you can learn the right things, the iPhone, the internet, social media is an incredible tool. But you can also go down the dark side of it, where you are focusing on all those things that distract you, and your whole life you just consume and don't create anything. And that, I think there's a lot of people in that category. Because it's hard, it's addicting. That phone is addicting, and it's easy
to get sucked
in.
Yep.
And it's what your brain, it's what your brain likes. Your brain likes dopamine, so it keeps telling you, yeah, keep scrolling. I want to keep seeing these videos because it's making me feel a certain type of way. But I don't think we were designed to do what we do on our phones every day.
Yep.
I don't think that's what we were meant to be doing, you know?
Well, look at that. We had good political commentary, and then we brought it all the way back to
personal growth.
So
Yep. We're a multitude of things on this show.
Yep.
We're just two piss poor farmers just trying to figure it out as we go.
We're damn good at regurgitating second and third hand information in a palatable way.
Yeah,
We
something
appreciate
like
every
that.
one of you.
Something like that. Yeah, we really do, guys. We really appreciate you. 2025, we're excited about all the stuff we're doing. We're putting in a bathroom right now in the barn, so that's coming along great. We got, like we said on the last podcast, we got somebody working with us now that's going out and actively reaching out to guests, so we're excited to be probably getting a consistent flow of great guests coming on the show. And, you know, big things are coming. We're going to keep pounding the stone. And please keep sharing the show. Please keep letting us know what you guys think of the show. Share it, leave a review, and, we love you guys. We really do. We appreciate it a lot. So we'll see you back here next week for another episode.